everybody. My name is Caleb Shope. I'm the Director of Alumni Engagement here at Houghton. And I have the special privilege of introducing you all to a good friend of mine, Julie Tuttle. And in introducing her, I just want to share a quick anecdote about her. When I met Julie, it was about 2 years ago when I started here, and I was running my first alumni board meeting. And I was super nervous about that because that sounds kind of scary. Anything with board in the name is just kind of weird to me. And so I'm there, I'm freaking out, and Julie comes up to me and says, "Hey, Sparky." Hello, Sparky. And I love it. I guess I'm Sparky now. So that's Julie for you. So Julie's a 95 grad of Houghton. She studied elementary education with a concentration in psychology. After graduating from Houghton, she went on to take a role as a kindergarten teacher at Houghton Elementary School, where she's taught kindergarten for 31 years. And she reminded me to tell you that that is not a long time. She earned her master's in teaching at Marygrove College in 2007, and in 2023 was awarded the Genesee School District Teacher of the Year Award. Throughout her career, Julie has been committed to lifting up and helping train new teachers. So she regularly hosts student teachers, she mentors new teachers, and at her school she recently started a Joy Club, which is designed to help uplift the staff at Houghton Elementary. She also loves Houghton. She's a dedicated member of our alumni board here. She was co-chair of the 1995 reunion at homecoming this past year. That's a lot of stuff. If I can boil it all down to something simple, I'd say Julie is someone who radiates joy. Her love for the Lord and for those around her is effective. She has an awesome sense of humor, and she loves Houghton, and I know she's excited to talk to you. So would you all join me in welcoming?
Hey students, I was thinking about in the 90s, which I know probably before you were born, but I was thinking about how when you had a guest speaker, sometimes you couldn't relate to them because they were old. Okay, just see this face. I am old. But I just want to speak to you today, and all these other beautiful people will be here with us in spirit. So, good morning. Again, as Caleb said, my name is Julie Tuttle. I'm going to try to work this slideshow at the same time, so let's see how this works. I am, we're already having problems, Houston. I am, as Caleb mentioned, I'm a Houghton alum. I graduated from Houghton College back in 1995, where I received a Bachelor of Science degree in education. At that time, you could choose to double major or have a concentration, and I chose psychology and kind of wondered why I was doing that. But after spending a lifetime with kindergartners, psychology was a good choice. I took it back when Houghton was a college, not a fancy university like today. I currently live in Michigan and have taught kindergarten for the past 30 years. I'm on 31 right now, which is quite unique in education. If you speak to most teachers, they have traveled the gamut of grade levels, and I came in at a time which was very particular. There were a lot of people coming, there were a lot of people trying to get jobs, and there weren't a lot available. And so I came in and I loved kindergarten. Kindergarten's a love-hate relationship for most people. Most people hate it, and I happen to love it. So I got to spend all these years growing and learning with 5-year-olds. I feel very fortunate to be the 9th person in my family to have attended Houghton. My mother, Linda, began this tradition in 1962 because her boyfriend was attending here. She did not marry said boyfriend, but did find him another way. So I'm actually the last of my family to have attended in 1995. I got some nieces and nephews who think Ohio State's better. My mom and I joke that we are the first and last of Houghton. A few years ago, I was asked to join this beautiful alumni board, and I think it's been by far one of the best groups I've ever had the privilege to be a part of. I'm not sure that while I was attending Houghton, I knew that there were alumni out there that were meeting, fundraising, supporting, and praying for me, and they're doing that very thing. I want you to know that this board is filled with the most amazing people who love Houghton dearly and love Houghton students. alumni that are connected to the college from the 1960s, all the way to our current member who graduated in 2023. Okay, commercial complete. In 2005, as Caleb said, I got my master's at Marygrove University. That sweet baby right there is a college student herself now. From Marygrove College, which was primarily an education school in Detroit, Michigan. And then in 2023, I actually had spoken to our newest superintendent who had come, who wanted to bring Teacher of the Year along. And I said, oh, I'm not interested in stuff like that, because how can you say that one teacher is better than another? And I'm just as good as the team I'm part of. But I got the distinct pleasure in 2023 of being named the district's first elementary teacher to receive that award. And I joke about this accolade because really, who am I? I'm just someone who's trying to love kids, and I'm trying to take them to the next step in their educational journey. A few months ago, Caleb Show had asked me, who's the Houghton Alumna Director, and Carl Sisson, who's the Vice President of Advancement, to share with you a best talk. So I really thought, equated that with a TED Talk, and I watched some TikToks, I'm going to say, and TED Talks are like 10 minutes, so I'm like, I can talk for 10 minutes. And then when I spoke with your professor and he said it was an entire class period, I didn't know how to back out. And so I can work with kindergartners all day long, which is kind of a feat, you know, they're busy. But as I said to the board today, I can lift them up, right? I can pick them up and redirect. I don't know about this today. So over the past few months, I've interviewed, I didn't know what great wisdom to impart with you. So I interviewed several fellow teachers, principals, and a few of my favorite superintendents on their why in public education. So I begin today with, what is your why? Buzzwords, oh my word, they seem to permeate the educational arena. If it's not a buzzword, then it's an acronym, and the lists run long. Several years ago, what is your why became a new buzzword in the educational culture. At first, to be honest, if I'm being honest, I thought it was annoying. How in the world do all occupations get bombarded with jargon like, what is your why, what is your why? But after having a very poignant conversation with my own father about having a call in your life, I thoughts really began to change. You see, my dad served the Lord faithfully for the past 50 years as an ordained minister in the United Methodist Church. Actually, he wrestled with God's call on his life at this very campus in the early 1960s while he was a pre-med student. Talks about going up on a hill, going to hunt. He doesn't even own a gun. But he wrestled with God's call, and God ultimately took him and had other big plans for his life. And he just retired about maybe 10 years ago. So he was a pastor for 50 years. You see, I thought that having a call on your life was more prominent for those in the ministry. But what I began to realize over the years is that God calls each of us. And he gives us the grace and the abilities in various capacities. He equips us and gifts us accordingly. No, you don't want me to do your taxes. You don't want me to build your home. You don't want me to fix your car or surgically remove anything from you. Those skills are not a part of my giftedness, nor in my wheelhouse, as some would describe. God has better suited me to work with children and to help them to grow and develop and to thrive in their academic endeavors, but also to find emotionally successful and socially being successful in their character development while developing a view of this world. I get the distinct pleasure to be a part of a child's educational journey. Actually, for many of my students, I am their very first teacher beyond their parents. An administrator one time told me that I am a child's first face in the classroom. As he said, I set the tone for and am a big contributor for future educational success. Yeah, no pressure there. I'm sharing with you today because God has also called you to the work of his kingdom here on earth. I don't know your personal stories, and gosh, I wish I did. I wish I had time to sit with you and hear your stories and hear how God has stirred in your heart. But what he has called you to be a part of is going to be great. But I do know that God does call. He does use our lives for his great purposes if we listen and we're obedient to his voice and the direction in our lives. I urge you to be prayerful in all you do, asking God for his leading and following his call. Recently, I watched this video clip, We're Praying This Works. I watched this video clip of Senator Josh Hawley, who's from the state of Missouri. He's speaking to a group of young adults like yourselves about the call God has placed in your life. And I'd like to share it with you today. And afterwards, we'll just see what we noticed. Let's see how
work directly, and he does. But he chooses almost always to work through means. And you're the means. You're the means. Somebody's got to preach. Somebody's got to go take the good news to those who don't know it. Somebody's got to go to court and defend it. Somebody's got to take the vision of the kingdom into public life, into the public sphere. Somebody's got to raise families. You've got to do that. The Lord's, his intention to give blessing to this nation and to move this nation into its destiny is going to depend on you and your ability, your willingness to serve him. He's got things to do through you that this country has not yet seen yet. So, my encouragement to you is live for that vision. Don't live for your career. What a terrible waste of your life. Don't live for money. Money is the worst goal. And you're all smart. Like you can take care of yourself. Nobody in here needs to worry about money. Don't live for money. Don't live for a career. Don't live for the applause of people. Believe me, that will come and go. Don't live for any of that. Live for the Lord and live for what he is doing. Be part of something that will last for eternity. You have the opportunity to do that. The Lord is inviting you into it. That's why he's giving you the skills he has. That's why he's placed you where he has. You weren't born at a random time. You were born for this time. You weren't born in a random place. You were born in the place the Lord put you, in the family that he put you. He has a destiny for you and through you to other people. Embrace it. That's my encouragement to you. There is nothing more exciting than that. And I think there's no more exciting time to have been alive than now. I think we're on the verge of one of the great revivals in American history. I really do. Maybe the greatest. But what will happen, the extent of what the Lord does, I think will depend in part on what you do and how you respond to him. So, let's go out there and give it our all for him. Guys, thank you so much for having us.
So, what Senator Holly is challenging us is counter to our culture, right? Following God's call in our lives is not what the world preaches by far. He reminded us that money and popularity, praise and power are fleeting and rarely point us to Jesus. You have felt a call to education, to loving and serving those God will put in your path. Just as Jesus called his disciples over and over again to the same theme. Those who hold tightly onto their life will lose it, but those who invest their life for the sake of God and his gospel will inherit life. Now I want you to do some, let your brain do some wandering. I don't know if professors ever say that, but I'm going to give you permission. Is that okay, sir? All right, think about your favorite teacher. What made him or her special? What comes to mind? What do you remember? How did they make you feel? I recently watched this beautiful story of a father who made a video thanking teachers for the impact they have made. I want to share this heartwarming message with you today because it reminds us of the value of pouring into others. So I just want you to see this quick video. There's your questions. You able to see them? Okay. This is called The Calling.
Do you realize how much money this will save us?
What's that?
I just built a budgeting app. Basically,
And a little
pulls
commercial.
all our expenses into one place and breaks down spending by team.
Guys,
I have a kid who does this for a job.
impossible.
Oops, I should have brought it with me.
It's been said that in a completely rational society, the best of us would be teachers, and the rest of us would have to settle for something less, because passing civilization along from one generation to the next ought to be the highest honor and the highest responsibility any one of us can have. I speak in school communities all over the country, and many times people will ask, who's the most important group you speak to? Is it high school students, elementary students, middle school students? And all of those students are important, but you can make a very strong argument that the most important group that I speak to isn't students at all. It's teachers. I've met in my time thousands of teachers, classroom teachers, counselors, office administrators, phy-ed teachers, librarians, anybody who works in a school that has an ability to impact kids, in my mind, is a teacher. And what I've learned is that you didn't get there by accident. That you felt the special tug on your heart, and that tug said to you at some point, you are uniquely designed to impact, influence, and inspire a young person's heart, soul, and mind. And you said yes to that calling. So often teachers get bogged down in the day-to-day, and what they got into the work for ends up not being the work that they actually do, and they get burnt and they get drained and they're ready to quit. I've seen teachers as early as 6 months ready to throw in the white flag and say it's all over. They don't feel like their work matters, but it does, and I can say it firsthand. Our family actually got an email from a school nurse, a teacher in her own right, about 3 years ago, and the email read something along the lines of, I don't know how to quite say this, but your daughter, who was in 3rd grade at the time, is coming in and seeing me quite a bit, and there's some very strong red flags that I have as a nurse that she's struggling with some sort of anxiety or maybe even childhood depression. The nurse was absolutely right, and the last 3 years, my wife and I and my daughter have been in and out of counseling, therapy, and psychiatrist questioning, medicine in 4th grade. Sophia missed 25 days of school because of this stuff. There were days where she couldn't even get out of bed. And I actually don't share that to make you sad or to make you depressed, because the truth is so many of you have had harder stories or more difficult things in your life than that. I share that with you because you need to understand that only 1 year later, in 5th grade, Sophia missed 0 days of school, and it wasn't because of a doctor, and it wasn't because of myself or medication, it was because of her 5th grade teacher, Miss Patty. Miss Patty single-handedly changed the game for Sophia and our entire family. And what I need you to hear is that you are the Miss Patties for so many of the students that walk into your classroom. And sometimes you know the ones you're impacting, and sometimes you don't. But as a parent, and as somebody who just deeply cares about young people, I need you to remind yourself that the work you do matters. The ripple effect that you have in the lives of these kiddos goes further than your eyes will ever see. So, if nothing else, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for stepping up and saying yes to that tug that you got on your heart so many years ago. Thank you for saying yes to the highest honor and the highest responsibility any one of us could have. Thank you for passing civilization forward. You have the most important job on this planet, and we need you today more than ever.
I have to say that I don't remember who taught me to read, to understand mathematical equations, or how to write stories, but I do remember how a teacher made me feel, how they motivated me, how they encouraged and supported me. In education today, we call this culture and climate. The community you build in your classroom. I loved Mrs. Cummings, my kindergarten teacher, who made school fun. We learned with the letter people, kept a daily journal, did our projects, played, and ended the day with graham cracker and chocolate milk. Mrs. Ferchiotti, my 1st grade teacher, say that a few times fast, let me be the teacher for the week when she had laryngitis. I was like, stuff. One girl pulled my hair, she wasn't happy about that. Mrs. Peterson was the most heartwarming teacher. I thought she was a celebrity when she rode her bike beside my house, who truly loved me. I was heartbroken in 2nd grade when she had a heart attack, and a long-term teacher, a substitute teacher, had to finish out the year. My 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Breton, told my mom and dad at parent-teacher conferences, I must have paid her for this, that her life would be heaven if she had a room full of Julie Tuttles in her class. My 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Myers, drove us to McDonald's in her shiny gold Cadillac for lunch to get to know us better at the beginning of that year. She got a tear in her eye when our family moved in the middle of 6th grade that year. Yes, teachers really do matter. And now I want to give you a little assignment here. I have some sticky notes here in case you need them. I want you to take a moment to think of your favorite teacher. I want you to jot down on a sticky note or a piece of paper or whatever you have, or Chromebook, laptop, whatever. how would you describe them? What attributes would you give them? How do they make you feel? In kindergarten, we do something called turn and talk, or think, pair, share, which just means you get a partner or a small group, and in kindergarten it's a little loud. Expect it here, it won't be as loud, but you're going to turn to that person and you're going to say, like, howdy partner, as my brother-in-law's classroom does, or hi friend, let's chat. So I want to give you a few minutes just to think about your ideas, some attributes, some way you would describe them, and then if you need a sticky note, I'm going to call the people who aren't scared to come down here. Come grab one of these. If not, just write down those things. And then as you're writing those down, be thinking about how, I feel like I have some not scared people. You're going to be good at this job, probably. Kindergarten. I got a job for you in a couple of years. See if I do. So write down those attributes, then we'll come back together and then we'll share. Is that good? Okay. All right. I'll come around with a few of these stuff. Attributes. Sticky note. Feelings in this email?
Yeah.
Your partner. Okay. Got it, sir.
The one I really like. They're very creative. Well, we talked about structure. That's still something. I don't know how things are going to. I want to know how it's going to go. I just want to throw something else. But even like in classes now, sometimes that's a really good way to do it also. That's the discussion. I remember the ones that care for us. I remember
I'm going to bring you all back together a minute. I kind of did that out of order. You were supposed to faint and then do that, but I love the way you do it. I love the way you do it. I just asked some of these board members, like, how long do I give them? In kindergarten, it's like a few minutes and we're done. And we're talking about like something I don't even know what we're talking about. So I'm gonna bring you all back together. You can, a couple of choices. You can throw your sticky notes on this whiteboard if you want. You can throw out a couple attributes if you'd like. Does anybody have something they would like to share? Some attributes of a teacher that really kind of resonated with them? Anybody? Ish, you must have something.
Innovative in first grade.
Innovative. In first grade?
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, Karen.
Dry humor was awesome.
Dry humor. Okay. It's because they weren't sleeping well.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Fifth grade, just really organized, very,
Organized.
they knew what they were doing, it was all planned out.
Wow, and that resonated with you in fifth grade. Impressive. That must be why you became a professor. Anybody else? Sharon.
Patient in 10th grade algebra. Or
10th grade algebra. My friend back here behind Mr. Bish.
Oh yeah, she was like my cheerleader. She was my English teacher and our yearbook at our school.
So high school. I love that. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
9th grade music teacher, and he cared about us more than just us being students and about our lives.
Anybody else?
Yes.
9th grade English, I felt inspired and it was almost like magical. Like
As a freshman in high school, that's impressive. That's really cool. Yes, ma'am.
So I went to private Christian school for the summer, so he taught multiple subjects.
Okay.
But my teacher, Mr. Wilson, taught me Algebra 2, geometry, and physics. And he was just he was a pastor, so he just explains, he was very generous, caring, kind, and funny. And they're the simple words, but you can tell he really cared.
Do you still connect with Mr. Wilson?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's a card. If you get time, that's a card to send to him because you will change his life. So if you think about those things, and we just talked about those attributes, right, describe people who poured into your life in one capacity or another. We heard kind of a conglomerate of people who were from elementary all the way to high school, right? I had those same experiences, but the funny thing is, even with those amazing educators, never did it cross my mind to become a teacher until in the fall of 1991 when I came to Houghton. I was a business major, which sounds funny to say today because it's what I thought I wanted to pursue. I thought I would run a company someday. Never dreaming I would spend a career learning and growing with 5-year-olds. Come to think of it, I guess I've been running a learning company since 1995. Most amazing teachers I know have these incredible stories of people who so profoundly shaped their lives that they too wanted to pursue education. I called my former superintendent. I have the luxury of being in a district with 1,000 students. So I actually do have, don't tell anybody, I have their cell phone numbers. We don't pass that around. But my former superintendent, Melody, shared that her kindergarten teacher made her feel so special that when she grew up, she wanted to be just like Mrs. Griffith. My dearest friend Sherry, who teaches 4th grade, remembers every detail of her favorite 1st grade teacher, Mrs. Schlesler, who instilled in her a love for reading that she continues to share with her students today. She actually stole a book from Mrs. Schlesler's. It wasn't even a good book, I mind you. Hid it under her bed, and Mrs. Schlesler's probably still looking for it. Teachers have a lasting impact and imprint in our lives, for the good and sometimes not so good. My journey into the education department actually at Houghton began after an encounter with a professor named Dr. Maya Kling. Dr. Kling taught Spanish, and I'm not sure I was the most fluent student she'd ever had. In fact, I wasn't. Ask a few people here who we went on a trip to Honduras, and I only know Donde Estaba Manuel. The bathroom's important to know. However, one day I was eating at a diner in a restaurant in Fillmore with a group of friends, and I remember this day literally like it was yesterday. Dr. Kling came over to me, called me to her table where she was dining, and all of my friends quickly disappeared. I approached that table really almost paralyzed in fear. What could come out of being singled out by a college professor off campus? Dr. Kling asked me about why I had chosen a business major. She then inquired about my future goals. Apparently, Dr. Kling had worked for ExxonMobil before becoming a professor, and she believed that this field wasn't the best suited for me. She said, I see you as a teacher. You love people, you're a good communicator, you have a good work ethic, you work well on a team, and you're encouraging and supportive. I looked dead in her eyes and said, no, thank you. She highly encouraged me to make an appointment with Dr. Howard, who was the education chair at the time. I agreed and kept my promise. When I met with Dr. Howard later that year, she told me that I would need to add a 5th year to finish the education program at Houghton because I was joining her later. That was surely not in the budget, I told her, and might cause my dad to have a heart attack. However, I did agree to take education classes that next semester and to check it out. And funny thing is, I don't think I ever looked back after that. I quickly found where I belonged, where God had called me to be. During my days at Houghton, I can't begin to tell you how professors poured into my life, like Dr. Connie Finney, who is in the room today, I didn't even know back here. She was my all-time favorite college professor at Houghton and actually taught my ed psych class. Dr. Finney, who is funny to say because she went by Connie and nobody called her, as we say in kindergarten, her big long name. She was so engaging and she made learning come alive. She built incredibly remarkable relationships with students. She was incredibly encouraging and she made learning fun and relatable. She used color chalk to teach us about different things just different people and different theorists, and it stuck with me. It was during my ed psych class that she asked me to be a part of her doctoral research. Remember this, Connie? Every week I was to journal my preparedness for teaching. I was asked to essay about what worries I had and concerns in being a teacher. Let's just say, as a sophomore at Houghton, I really don't think I knew what to anticipate as a future educator, so unfortunately my concerns were ridiculous. When I couldn't think of any more, I would question others in the atrium of the NAB, or as you call it, the Chamberlain Center now, and their answers were even more dumb. I remember writing, I'm worried about chalk lines on my butt. I guess maturity wasn't on my side then. Back then it seemed like a lifetime of classes, assignments, papers, observations, fieldwork, and career planning. And then in the blink of an eye, there I was sitting in the basement of the Houghton Wesleyan Church at a convocation to begin student teaching in the Buffalo suburbs. It was on that chilly fall day, I told somebody, on that warm fall day, and they said, remember it's Houghton. Chilly fall day, that I suddenly began to feel overwhelmed by the enormity of my decision. Was I prepared? How would I lead children I had never met? What if I wasn't enough? What if I really wasn't meant to be a teacher? All these questions and more circled around my mind like a tornado, and I began to cry. I mean, literally, you guys, I cried. It was in that moment that Dr. Darlene Bresso, another of my favorite education professors, came beside me and said, Julie Tuttle, why are you crying? I began to share with her my fears and concerns, and she ever so sweetly said, you are meant for this, my dear. You have been called to be a teacher. Not fully believing her in the moment, and she knew it, she then backed up her words. Dr. Blesser asked me to think about my early education courses versus my senior seminar classes. We talked about how there were less students in those latter classes. She told me that students had been prayerfully weeded out and helped to find God's calling in their lives. I often reminisce about this memory and the blessing of being a part of an institution that loves their students this well. Houghton is such a special place, and I pray that you have felt this kind of community during your time here. Over the past few months, as I told you, I've had the privilege of talking with educators from all walks of life, whom I greatly respect. New teachers, veteran teachers, teachers across a variety of grade levels and school districts, and from numerous experiential levels. And I've asked them this one simple question. What's the best advice you would give a new teacher? And what stood out wasn't just what they said, it was how often the same ideas came up and again. There were so many common themes among all that shared that I want to pass along the top 10 teacher advice with you. So today I'm not sharing theory, I'm sharing what actually works, straight from the classroom. This is kind of if you didn't get a card, I have more. That's kind of what you education students receive today. I made my kids write you cards. We have a student teacher right now, so they kind of understood that realm. But after I asked them to write like their third and fourth card, they were done with me. So strategies that at work, I feel like I've heard a lot of talks in my career as 31 years of education, and what often they tell you is theory, right, Jordan? They give you lots of theory and what may work. But I think what I want you to take away today is that the adage is true. Children learn best from those they feel connected to, relationships. As Maya Angelou said, students may forget what you taught them, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Strong classroom management doesn't start with rules, it starts with relationships. Most teachers will agree that the best way to develop strong classroom management is through the relationships that you build with your students. In my experience, there are many ways to build relationships. It all begins with showing that you care. I found that relationships are central to student success, and keeping students at the center of what we do should be our goal. Here's a few ideas that I want you to take away with. Obviously, your grade level will determine some of this, but some of my friends in upper grade levels do student surveys or entrance inventories to get to know them. I do this a lot with students. I go eat lunch with them, or for special rewards, we go to McDonald's or get something. I go to recess and actually swing, and actually go down, 50-year-olds, down the side, attend their games or their concerts or their events. My dear friend who teaches 4th grade starts every Monday morning with favorite part of your weekend, and she has learned so much about her students through this. It's just a way to get to know students better. Relationships extend beyond the students to include families, colleagues, and your entire school community. When students feel seen, safe, and valued, they are ready to learn. Number 2 is engagement. Think about the environments that stimulated the most learning for you. These places weren't void of engagement. The times you learned best, probably places and moments that were active, meaningful, and engaging. Engagement is more than keeping students busy. It's about drawing them into the learning. It's building discovery, curiosity, and a desire to be all in. Our continual goal as educators is not only to connect with our students, but to encourage active learning. Balancing teacher talk, which is really hard to do, with student talk. Giving kids student ownership, movement, discussion, collaboration, setting goals. I think I heard that you guys were just talking about some goal setting and motivation. Number 3, be a lifelong learner. As Houghton would say, become a scholar servant. Great teachers never arrive, they evolve. Teachers develop expertise, but there is always more to learn. Throughout your career, you will improve your craft. Filling your tool belt, as my friend Janelle, who's a professor at the University of Michigan, says. Every teacher I've worked with has sharpened me as an educator, allowed me to grow my expertise and improve my craft. My friend Dawn, who teaches 6th grade, reminded me that there isn't a lesson you wouldn't teach differently the second time. And that's the beauty of teaching. You are always refining your craft. Here's some ways that you can encourage and increase your lifelong learning. Learn from your colleagues, reflect on lessons, be open to feedback, try new strategies. In case anybody's a TikTok person, that's Gary Brooks. He's pretty cool, he came to our school. He's actually got a Houghton connection, I'll tell you someday. Celebrate the wins. Dr. Becky Daly, the author of Conscious Discipline, reminds us that what you focus on, you get more of. In education, it's easy to focus on what's not going well. But when we are intentional about celebrating progress, big or small, we build motivation and confidence. Our school uses a PBIS framework in which we help students celebrate positive behavior. We encourage that, we support that, we reward that. And here's some ways, right, to recognize effort, not just achievement. Celebrate growth towards goals. Shout out kindness, perseverance, and improvement. You can do that at any grade level. Number 5, collaboration, right? I'm sure you've heard that in the college setting a lot. When I asked my teaching partner, Rachel, her best advice, she said, you can't be a lone ranger in education. You will need other educators, right, Jordan? So work at being a part of your team. Build each other up, lean on one another. There is so much wisdom to the saying that 2 minds are better than 1. Be willing to ask for help. This is not only builds your expertise, but also connects you to others. Even as a veteran teacher, I often seek the support from other teachers. I call them my 90s friends. You know, those people who were born in the 90s, which may still seem old to you. But I reach out all the time in technology, and they're always showing me something that they think I should have learned a long time ago. Teaching's not meant to be alone. Share ideas and resources, problem solve, support and encourage, and celebrate on those good days. Set goals. Educators need a growth mindset. Being a part of the solution is what is required. The best teachers I know say they have more to learn and more to discover. The world of education, like our world, is ever changing. 15 years ago, when Michigan moved from a half-day kindergarten to a full-day program, I began to notice my students needed more ownership in their learning. I began to actively help students set goals for themselves. And what I learned in this process is goal setting built ownership and motivation and pride in their learning. When students get to set a goal, work towards it, and achieve it, something powerful happens. They begin to believe in themselves. What joy this is to celebrate. Track that visually. Celebrate those goals when they're met. Number 7, healthy boundaries. I really don't think I'm the person to talk to you about this because I'm not really so good about this, but learn from my mistakes. Teaching can be overwhelming if we let it consume everything. To be your best in the classroom, you need to balance outside of it. This might look like personal time and doing things that bring you joy outside of school, being present with your family and friends. This group of kiddos who are now have graduated from college, I mentored since they were in 5th grade. Stay connected to your faith. Find a church home. Be a part of that. Find opportunities to serve. Number 8, be innovative. Try new things. The saying is true. Failure is just an opportunity to grow. Growth requires risk. When I asked my dear friend Mary her best advice, she said, stay curious. Ask students and anyone, ask questions. Say, tell me more. Not every lesson will go perfectly, and that's truly okay. Maybe you're going to try something that will reach a student you couldn't have before. Spark some excitement in your classroom. Reignite your passion for teaching. Number 9, build your village. Your support system matters. Over 10 years ago, I heard a wonderful idea that would increase the number of books in students' homes. Using social media, I reached out to family and friends and asked them to support by sponsoring a child to receive a book that I would order that year. And over $1,200 was donated. I have continued this wonderful project to this day, and I'm continually amazed at the generosity of what others who will never want to bless into the lives of others, who they'll never meet. Children that they will never meet maybe this side of heaven, but they know that they are encouraging. So reach out to those people. Let them help you. You don't have to do everything alone, is what I've learned. People want to help. You just have to invite them in. Number 10, this is what I always want to be famous for. Have fun. Joy matters. Students remember the classrooms where they laughed, and they felt safe, and they enjoyed learning. Be playful. Laugh with your students. Celebrate silly moments. Create traditions. Be that teacher that kids say, oh, that's the teacher that does the big 100th day celebration. Be him or her. That is inspiring to kids. I was talking about this presentation with a friend of mine named Barb, who was also a student here in the 90s, and she was a physical education major here at Houghton. And I told her I had one extra piece of advice that wasn't going to fit in this top 10, and she said, like a bonus point? So here's your bonus point, and I think your most important point. Pray continually. Pray without ceasing. Pray for your students, their families, the community, the colleagues that you will work with, and your students, and your schools, and their school leaders. Those leaders have very big jobs in education where the state is often putting high demands on them. So pray for them. They need it. As I was talking to my dad, I said to him, how do I end this talk? I said, like a conclusion? He goes, you mean a benediction? I said, this is not a sermon. He said, well, Betty means good. Diction means word. Give them a good word. Okay, good word. So, God's promise to you, be confident of this. He who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. I work in public education, but this is my missionary, Amelia. Her mom has given me the right to talk about her. But Amelia's mom actually works for the Wesleyan Church, which is exciting. And she's leading every one of my kids to Jesus. But we made these hearts for Valentine's Day, and hers says, love is the first thing. I asked them what love is. Love is the first thing God asked us to do. And I thought, there's the truth, right? You can be in public education, and you can still be true to your faith, right? And you know what? Use the Amelias. When you can't talk about God, use Amelia, because she will. So I thank you so much for your time today, and I hope that you listen to that call that God has placed in your life. I hope that wherever He leads you, you are faithful to take each step with Him. It's not easy. This job's not easy. But guess what? No job is easy. You're going to continue to take each new step. You're going to continue to be reminded of how God will be faithful in everything. So thank you so much. majors are in here. Oh, Connie had a question. Connie, tell me.
How important today is your relationship to Houghton?
Oh, it's more important. It's even more important.
Just the people that you were close to when you were here as a student, but.
Well, I mean, here's two of my dearest friends, Carrie and Greg, right? I mean, we've been friends for 35 years. Still love, and they still both look really good. Well, you're so sweet. How many education majors are here, like you're going into education? Elementary? Secondary? All elementary? Maybe? Secondary? Secondary? What's the dream, elementary people? What grade level? Second? I heard that's best. Second? Nice. They're still lovey, but independent.
Did you start in kindergarten? Is that where you wanted to be? How'd you?
I did not want to be in kindergarten. It's funny when I student taught with a guy who I don't know if he loved me. The lady that I student taught with thought it was great. The guy was like, not sure about her. He kept sending me to the kindergarten room to observe. He's like, what am I doing down here with the bunnies? Okay. But I actually interviewed, I think, for a 5th grade job. When I was interviewing, there were no jobs. And I had only subbed at the school that I'm actually now a part of. And this kindergarten job came up, I think because the teacher was like running, she didn't like it. And I kept saying every year, they're gonna take this job from me, right? They're gonna take it, I'm gonna teach another grade. And they're like, Julie, you don't understand, nobody wants to come down here. We brought one lady down here and she couldn't run fast enough. You know, my principal used to call them ankle biters, or he would say, oh, you have to go down there and keep those puppies in a box. I'm like, what? You don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, I don't think kindergarten was my initial dream, but I can't imagine doing anything else, yeah. Which is funny, because every teacher in my building has taught something else. And they send me, my principals think they're funny, and they'll send, I think 10 days before school ends, they have to give you a letter of where you'll be the next year, and it always says 6th grade. I don't have time for that. So, yes, Carrie, girl.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to say a couple things that I don't think Julie would say about herself, and I want to say it because I think they're so important to this talk and this space is that I was a former kindergarten teacher.
Correct. A good one.
Yeah. You know, you can't give what you don't have, and it's never more important than when you are sharing space and being in that position with young children, particularly those 4 and 5-year-olds that come into kindergarten. And the beautiful thing about Julie is she has it to give, and that is why it's real, it's deep, it's transformative, because you can't fake it with children. You shouldn't with anybody,
right.
But you particularly should not, right? That's the millstone around your neck,
right.
Type of thing from Scripture, right? Is to mess with children.
They notice it all.
Right. You got to have it to give. You got to have a sense of grounding. You have to have a sense of faith. You have to have a sense of yourself and who God has made you to be, and who, as she said, called you to be. So Julie has it to give, and that's really a beautiful thing about Houghton. This is 4 years to figure out who is God and what does God want from you, as my friend Bill Allen down here taught me. And one of the things that Julie has, so Julie's spent time with my husband and my class of 95 son, and I've experienced it, I've watched her with children, is a sense of belonging. It's a sense of belonging. We know it's Maslow's, it's love and belonging, but that sense of belonging it's different than welcoming a student into your classroom. When you welcome a student into your classroom, there's a power differential, right? And yes, you're the teacher and you've got to lead the class. But what Julie has to give, and what any of us as teachers would want to have to give, is a sense of belonging, because there's no power differential in that. We all belong. So, you know, we love you, Julie.
She is so sweet. If you need a counselor, I got a few people to talk to. Carrie and my friend Judith, you'll be good. I need them. Oh, you guys, I have to tell you, you guys are the most beautiful group of people that I've ever spoken to because, first of all, I was scared out of my mind. I'm like, what am I going to tell you guys? But you know what? I just really am excited where God's going to lead you. And I'm also excited about, right, as I get ready to leave this, I'm not leaving the earth right now, but as I get ready to transition, I know you don't that right. As I get ready to think about retirement in the next 5-10 years, I'm so excited to see that you guys will be at the helm of that. You'll be starting that. You'll be, I mean, you are the generation, right? You're not the future, you are it today. But I'm excited to see where God's going to lead you and the things that you are going to learn in the next, when you're old like me, is going to be powerful. So keep that in mind. God will work it out, right? You don't have to worry about all those details. God will make it happen. Just be really faithful in that. Pray, ask for people to pray, and walk as closely with the Lord as you can. And that's really, really what I've learned in my career, right? It's challenging. All these people do occupations that are challenging, and you'll find challenges, and you'll find so many things to celebrate as well. So thank you so much. Thank you.